In this video, we are going to be making decorative cork boards. So for your supplies, you'll need a pair of scissors, thread, a glue gun and glue sticks, different colors of fabric. You'll probably need at least 2 colors, but you can pick however many you want. Some optional things are cutout prints like this. I found this outline on the internet and then I just took it and copied and pasted the picture into a Word document and then made bigger and smaller ones in Microsoft Word. And then I just cut them out, and I'm going to use them as a pattern on my fabric and place them onto my cork board for more decoration. And then you'll also need a needle and a sewing machine. And if you don't want to use a sewing machine, then you can just hand sew the whole thing. Lastly, you'll need your cork board. This is mine. I got it for $7.50 at Joann's Crafts, but it is originally $15, but I had a coupon. Anyway, they have lots of different boards, all different sizes, and they're like this, but you can also get cork board that is much thinner, and they're rolled in just rolls, I guess, and you can just buy those and they're cheaper. They're not as thick though and as sturdy as this one, and so I picked this one because I want to be able to move mine around and stuff like that. And then I think you can get cork board at just about any craft store. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is pick which fabric we're going to use to cover our board. And so I decided to use this zebra print that I have here, and so I cut it to fit my board. And it has about 1 inch of overlap, so I can tuck it behind and glue it later. After I did that, I cut out my cutouts of fabric. So I have all those cut out. And now I'm just going to sew these butterflies onto this fabric. And so I'm going to hand sew them and have a big stitch because I think that looks good. But you could use a sewing machine if you wanted, or however, and you don't have to have these, of course. You can just do whatever you want. Alright, so I sewed my butterflies on right here, and they look pretty good. I messed up a little bit, but it's not that noticeable, so I'm okay with it. And so I just sewed them right onto this fabric, just like that, and it's all good. And so now I'm going to make the pockets of my board. So for the pockets, I just took 3 pieces of fabric and I'm going to lay them down like this on my board. Now if you can tell, I sewed a few of them just right across the top. So I folded a piece over, and it doesn't have to be that much fabric, I just had a lot of extra, so I folded a lot. So I folded the fabric over and then just sewed 2 straight stitches across. And I did that on this one and on this one. And so I'm going to do it on this piece. And so all I'm going to do is just fold it over and sew right across the top twice. Alright, so I have my 3 panels sewed at the top, just like that. I sewed all 3 of them, and now we're going to sew these panels to each other. So what I mean by that is I already sewed these 2 together, and I sewed them just like this. So I laid one down, this purple one, and then just laid the black and white one down on top of it. Picked how much I wanted to have around the top. So I decided about 2 inches I wanted from the top. So I placed that down there, and then I pinned across. Just took some pins, pinned across. And then after that, I just sewed straight down this line here. So I sewed right down here, and that's all I had to do. And now I'm going to do the same thing with this next panel. Just going to place it about the same distance. Take some pins and pin it down. And now I'm going to sew straight down here. So now I have all my panels sewn together. They open just like this. Sewed here and here. So the next thing that we're going to do is sew these panels onto the background. So onto this. And how we're going to do that is just take your panels and flip them over like this. And first, before you do that, you're going to need to figure out where you want your panels. So I want mine here. I'm going to put a pin right here so I know that that's where I want my panels. So there's a pin there. And I'm just going to flip my panels over and match them up with the pin. So it's matched up with my pin right there. And what you're going to do is you're going to sew this onto this just by simply sewing down a line down here. Just pin it down. And then sew here. And after you've sewn, you should be able to take these panels and flip them over just like that. Alright, so I sewed my panels onto my background, and so they can move just like this. They're connected, but they fold over like this. Now this one doesn't because I sewed across here after I was done with that. And so we're going to sew each of these panels like I just did this one. And we sewed that because it's going to be like a pocket. And so now this is a pocket almost, except for this one side. And that's how we want all of them to be. And so we're just going to take this panel, bring it back over, and we're going to do the same thing just by sewing across here. And then we'll flap this one over and do it again, just sew across. And you're sewing onto the zebra print, so onto your background, and not onto these other pieces, which you could do. It wouldn't be that big of a problem, but if you don't have to, then just sew onto the background. Alright, so I sewed all of these pieces down. Sewed here, and this one sewed, so they're all pocketish like that. I'm going to put things in them almost. So now what we're going to do, the last thing that we have to sew, is just up this side here. Once you've sewn that, we can finish this up. Alright, So my board is basically done. All I have to do is glue this piece onto my board. And I have these pockets here, and then my butterflies here, and it's all good. So I'm going to hot glue my board, but you can use whatever method you want. I just like the hot glue best. I'm going to start over here. Now for hot gluing, I recommend, doing a certain spot. So like I did this corner first, and then just taking the glue and going like up and down, up and down, up and down, all the way across. And then once you have done that, turn your board over and then hot glue these pieces down, just across, and glue them down. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I try and put out at least one new video a week, and you can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter.